It is rare when I am able to blend my two favorite interests, and that is relationships and the Real Housewives franchise. I am so pumped to do my first episode of my segment, Life Lessons from the Real Housewives. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to All Our Parts. Welcome to All Our Parts. If you're new, I'm Jasmine, and I'm happy to have you here. So, like I said in the intro, today I am discussing an aspect of Real Housewives that I can very deeply relate to, and also connected to how I know it's reality TV, but I've always been so obsessed and fascinated with watching other people interact with one another. I think as an only child, it helped me understand dynamics a bit better, learn how to engage with people, how not to engage with people. And while a lot of Real Housewives can sometimes be dramatized, there also is a lot of depth in some of the episodes. And there are, at the end of the day, they're real people. And every once in a while, you get something that you can connect with, something that we can all understand. And so I am here to shed light and break it down and share with you why I think it's relevant for, at least where I am. So without a doubt, let's get into it. First housewife deep dive will be Kyle Richards from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. If you are watching this season right now, then you know that she is very much in her reputation era right now. She is reclaiming her voice. She is reclaiming her time in a lot of ways, and she's evaluating the relationships that she has had in her life, both past and present. So yes, I'm calling it her reputation era. She is exploring sober curiosity and is finding her more authentic voice after her friend lost her life, and that was something that was really hard for her. And I have always loved Kyle's person. She was fun. She was like always the life of the party, always doing what everyone wanted her to do. And this season, I looked at it a little bit closer and was like, oh, Kyle and I have a lot in common. As early as I can remember, I have been the yes girl. Old reliable, old faithful. Like, you need me, I'm there. And I think that's a great quality. It's one of my favorite ones about myself. I think that is a strength to have. And I know that it is a trait that has gotten me burned at various points in my life because I was doing it to maintain one-sided relationships or self-preservation too when I did, I wasn't young enough or I wasn't old enough or had the ability to preserve myself in the way that I am now. So I had to say yes to everything. And during the first episode, when Kyle said, doing what everyone wanted me to do got me nowhere, I felt that. She was talking to her husband about her tattoos, and he was like, I don't like them, and yada yada. And she was like, I am not interested in pleasing everyone because I can't. And no matter what she's done to please everyone, the only person that is truly feeling unsatisfied in that moment is herself. And when we realize that we have sacrificed so much of ourselves for other people, that's where resentment comes in. And I think a lot of her character is exploring the resentment she's felt towards her husband, her friends in different ways. And I know that I have personally sat with resenting other people, not because they were disrespecting me, but I was allowing them, and I was saying I was okay with something and not setting boundaries when I certainly should have, and I should have been more clear about what I needed out of my relationships, and that has certainly led to me not communicating in the best way, and it has been a life lesson, but it is something that I am committed to be the best person in all of my relationships and show up in the best way. And that's not to say I'm perfect, but it is something that I intentionally work on. But Kyle is also speaking to a really important point, and that is being able to trust your own voice and strengthening your inner voice. And that is something that continues to be something that I work on and work towards, because I used to be so easily swayed, I think that I could be easily influenced at times to think a certain way or want to fit into a certain group or be friends with certain people. And so I would not change myself completely, but I certainly would adapt some things or maybe withhold some opinions that I actually had and thought were true. And I have struggled with a sense of belonging since I didn't have a sense of belonging in my own family. And so it was really important to me to find a sense of belonging in other people, and I was clawing to it. And that, while it has worked out for me overall, it was really inauthentic, and I have sat with the ways that I have ultimately abandoned myself to please other people. And that, I can't change the past, but it is certainly something that I think always comes up whenever I'm thinking about how I want to be the best version of myself. And so here are 3 things that I have done to strengthen my inner voice that might help you as you are learning to strengthen your inner voice. The first one is finding my own voice meant quieting everyone else's at times. And this could have been intentionally, where I'm hearing feedback, I'm hearing opinions, and I have to take 5 steps back from that opinion and say, okay, it might have worked for them, but it's not going to work for me. And that is easier said than done, because of course we have people in our lives who want to protect us, who want the best for us, who see the other side of something, or they see the other side of something that they experienced, and they can sometimes project, and we might have a lot of respect for them. We might admire them. We might, think their opinion is a law, but at the end of the day, your opinion is your law. And as long as you are not doing harm to anyone, doing harm to yourself, you have a right to allow your voice to be the loudest voice that you listen to, that drives you to make your choices. The second part was learning to trust my inner voice meant acknowledging the ways that I have either consciously or subconsciously sabotaged something out of fear or low self-worth. Fear is powerful, and it is extremely powerful when you are not confident. And I have stopped myself so many times from making a choice out of fear of losing a person, out of fear of not being perceived as perfect, or the person that has it all together, or the person that can handle it. I have always been the strong friend, the there for you friend, and I will say it has only been in the last couple of years where I have allowed myself to be the strong friend and the friend that needs support, the person that needs other shoulders to lean on, the person that does not want to be resilient and is not wearing strength as a badge of honor anymore. And it has been a tough pill to swallow, but a lot of times the reason why I may have not felt supported sometimes is because I wasn't allowing myself to be supported. I was saying, I got it, I got it, I got it. And then I was saying, why weren't you there for me? Why didn't you show up for me? Why didn't you check on me? And it's like, girl, you said you were fine. And so people trusted that. Like, no one can read your mind. And so I wasn't being fair to the people that I was in relationships with, or even employers, like employers that wanted to support me. And I just wanted to figure it out. Like, because I was also praised for figuring it out. Like, being the golden child is not all it's cracked up to be. I'll talk about that later. But for anyone who knows what it means to be the golden child, it is to be the child in a family system that achieves, that strives, that does what everyone wants them to do, that doesn't rock the boat. And I did that. And I hated it. And people thought I loved it. And now I'm saying, no, it sucked. It ruined my life. Kind of. But I'm back now. I'm back on top. And so trusting my inner voice has meant saying, Jasmine, there's two sides to this. I can see why someone might have felt like you didn't need help, because you didn't say you had any questions. You didn't say you needed any help. So I've stopped that, kind of. I still try to show like I got it, but it's exhausting now. And so it's slowly becoming like, actually, it's easier to just say, I need help. And I have really great people in my life that I can actually ask for help. And it's not like used against me later on. The last way that I have learned to trust my own voice is sitting in the discomfort of disappointing other people. I had to recognize that making a choice that was right for me meant being okay that someone else was disappointed. And that, is the fine saying of, I can only be responsible for my actions, my emotions. I cannot be responsible for how other people respond to me as well. I used to carry the very heavy, very weighty suitcase of not only managing my emotions, but managing the other person's. And that, of course, is from what? Trauma. Having to manage my dad's emotions. He was very like on and off, and like he was not easy to read at times. And so I like would anticipate how he might react to something. And that is a response that I carried with me to the point where in my relationship, oh, I need to say yes, so then you'll feel good, and I'll do this, I'll do that, da, da, da. And I was like, if someone's not being forthcoming about how they're feeling and they're not communicating with me, I am good on that. Like, then that is not someone that I need to have in my life. So I had to make tough choices. And even in my career, when I made choices at the different jobs that I've had, when I, have been in different positions, I, speaking up, sometimes I can be quiet, but I recognize I need to speak up, and other people can disagree. Other people get to be disappointed. Like, that's their reaction, their feelings. And then I get to have my opinion. Like, I'm not trying to sway anyone in the same way that I hope they aren't trying to sway me. Like, that's conversation, is sharing your opinion. And when I am feeling the most confident, that's when I'm able to hear someone else's opinion and not internalize it and distort it and turn it into attack on me. When I'm not feeling as confident, it can be much harder to sit with the disappointment of other people or feeling like I have failed someone else. And so that's my 3 tips on learning how to trust yourself, trust your inner voice. And I think Kyle is reflecting that 100%. I've loved watching her on this season of Beverly Hills. She is slaying, honestly, and I love that she has found her voice and is learning that she does not need to please everyone around her to be satisfied in her life, and she gets to be herself. So I am gonna continue watching and continue growing with the Kyle Richards herself.